Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Streaming live on the internet.
And I think you said you're going to test that too.
We did test it. Yeah, it works sometimes. Starting soon. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Doing online shows.
For much longer than I would have liked.
Suit yourself. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. From their tidied up offices.
And then I see the disinfectant.
You do not want to know what happened in there before. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Answering the questions from
you, the people of this country.
If you email them in comics@somenews.co.uk or tweet at Mr. Stephen Allen or at Erich McElroy. In Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Starting soon.
In a minute. 1 minute.
Well, maybe a bit longer than a minute, but soon. Soon. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. The web show we started because we were out of work.
And it is still true.
All right, don't rub it in. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Using their expertise to solve problems.
You're going to have to use medical doctors with.
No, just two comedians talking rubbish out of their face holes. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon. Lockdown 2020, giving Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy bigger compassion, time to write.
And guts.
Hell yeah.
You've shown and are continuing to show.
Only when we stand up on webcam. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Erich McElroy. Starting soon.
Sounds interesting.
Thank you. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Eric McElroy. Starting soon. With Stephen Allen and Eric McElroy, who now do not have a
job.
Yep. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Eric McElroy. Starting soon. Talking news and taking the mickey out of politicians.
In particular, the first Secretary of State, Dominic Raab.
Yep, definitely him. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Eric McElroy. Starting soon. Shedding light on the coronavirus issues.
And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body.
It would be harder to see, though. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Eric McElroy. Starting soon. Broadcasting to you
Every day.
apart from all of the days we don't broadcast, which is most of them. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Eric McElroy. Starting soon. Live web streaming.
To households across the land.
Yep. Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems with Stephen Allen and Eric McElroy. Starting soon. Hello, man. Welcome to Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. Hello.
Welcome to this little half-hour comedy show where we're sorting out the world's problems. The news is full of problems. We'll sort those out. If you get in touch, we'll sort out your problems as well. Because we are problem solvers. We don't just come up with problems. We come up with solutions. I mean, they might not work. They might not be useful. But at least we gave it a darn try, god darn it. And if at any stage you enjoy anything, there's the donation links down the bottom. If you enjoy it enough where you would buy as a coffee or a pint, that's where you can do it. So yeah, let's crack on with whatever we've got to sort out in the news.
You're looking a little hotter under the collar than usual there, Stevie.
It's true.
I
am sweating like Dominic Cummings trying to test his eyes. I am. It's the world's hottest day or something, isn't it? I'm flipping bacon.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know because back in 2006, the last time I think we had a proper heat wave was the year that my daughter was born, and with a newborn at home and my wife going stir crazy, we invested in a proper air conditioning unit. Yes, and American. We have, actually I got a picture of it right here. You can see it there. That's it. Called Big Bertha. Big Bertha. It was quite expensive and it's massive. Yeah. And I'm pleased to say we have used that now a total since 2006, and today a total of twice.
Wow. Is there a reason why there's a shit stain on it?
It's not as it's tape. At some point, I don't know why.
Took a shit on your aircon. But
No,
it feels good.
it's tape. You just can't scrape it off without damaging the beast. I don't know what we tape to.
Why did you have tape on your bottom when you were taking a shit? This whole story does not check out, Eric.
It was really hot that summer.
Only way to keep things in.
No way to cool off. But yeah, so it means I've air conditioned this room and conditioned it all day long, and I have brought the temperature in this room down a total of 2 degrees Celsius.
That's going to be in 2 degrees. It's going to be the nipple show today. Welcome along. Yep. Mark Randall on the comments already says, hello, chaps. Are you going to ditch the ties? No, we're still doing it. Look, I bought this one ages ago to go to someone's wedding, and I'm getting some use out of it for the first time in probably like 10 years.
Yeah, that is definitely a wedding tie.
It is, isn't it? We are somehow clinging on to still doing the ties. As Mark's done, already dropped some comments in there. Wherever you're watching it, send us a comment. We can include those as well. But look, we've already started talking about the heatwave. It's the biggest story in town. It's a short heatwave, but by God, it's warm. And what's happened with it is, the way I see the timeline, Boris Johnson says, get some new freedoms and I will trust the common sense of the British people. And then the British people saw a little bit of sun and went, way off to the beach.
A major incident. They've called the police.
Yeah. That's the local MP, Tobias Ellwood, declared it as a major incident. I think another politician said,
we shall fight on the beaches.
That might have been a different story, now I think about it.
Definitely about a heatwave.
But yeah, so it turned into a big incident that everyone went to the seaside. And Eric, for this next terrible joke, I need for you to do one of the lines. So when I drop a line up on the screen, could you read it out and it'll make the terrible joke work?
Okay, no problem.
So hundreds of thousands of people went down to the seaside in the British town of Bournemouth.
In Dorset?
Well, I wouldn't recommend it.
Hey! Hey! That is almost knock-knock level.
Yeah, well, you got to do some... I mean, out of the two of us, you're the father and I'm doing the dad jokes. It's the division of labour that people have wanted. So front page of the newspapers have been talking about how hot it's been. Front page of the Times had a picture of what I guess is water polo. Is that what that is?
Ocean polo? You do that?
Yeah, I'm not really posh enough to realise. I didn't realise you took the horses in. But that's what them posh people do. Front page
Nigel Farage is probably saying they're immigrants trying to sneak into the country.
They're coming in on a horseback these days. Then the front page of the Daily Star went with a different angle.
Yeah, the Great British Bake Off. I mean, that is not untrue. That is after I've gained my COVID weight. That's kind of what I look like with my shirt off these days. But what I love, this front page, if you dig in a little bit closer above the guy's left shoulder, look at, is that Dominic Cummings?
Near a shark.
Near a shark.
Which would be you more afraid of?
I mean, was he checking his eyes in the ocean? I don't understand. I don't know.
But do you know what? On this picture of the big lad there, at least it's different to the cliche. The cliche is that tabloids wait for a hot day, go down to the beach or a park, and have young attractive ladies frolicking as if that's somehow news. This just in, women still are there. This is a photo I took of a copy of the Daily Star years ago, and they did exactly that. Some women enjoying a park. My favourite question about this picture has always been, how is she managing to piss into the bottle?
Wow.
Because the first part of that is bottom spin, the second bit is top spin. It's Kegels, I guess. And it's impressive how she managed to do that. So you've not suffered in the heat today?
No, well, because I've stayed in this room next to the air conditioner and fought off the rest of my family that wanted to be near it. So
I did struggle because, look, as you can tell, I'm a ginger bearded man. I have the genes that mean I need to be fearful of the sun, and we've had the quickest burning time probably ever. They'll probably tell us tomorrow that we've broken the record, because not only is it near the solstice, so the sun's directly coming down at us, it's hot weather, no clouds, but also because of coronavirus, there's less pollution. And pollution scatters UV. Plus, we've got one of the lowest levels of ozone, which is naturally dipped, but I'm sure there'll be a protest about it. And it means the burn time has been down to 15 minutes for people like me, which normally would be okay if it weren't for the fact we're living in a time when we have to go out to shop, to stand in queues for ages, while wearing face masks. I popped out to the shops earlier. When I came back, I looked like this. I mean, fortunately, I am wearing makeup just to take off the... I've aloe vera'd.
You said...
the main difference.
You keep looking like that, you're going to end up on the cover of the Daily Star.
That's the dream. That's the dream. That's what I'm after. So yeah, look, I mean, it's been hot. How have you been dealing with it? You can send the messages. Chris Curling says, rather floral tie there, Steve. Yeah, look at that. It's... And Mark says, was there a toilet paper shortage in 2006? Yeah, were you using masking tape as opposed to... Ooh, that's great.
That's one of the reasons why I was so keen to buy toilet paper during this crisis, because I remembered, 2020, that time we ran out of toilet paper in 2006.
I mean, gaffer tape and masking tape would get it off, but it'd take other things with it as well.
Let me tell you, it does.
Keep the comments coming through wherever you're watching this. We'll, if you've got any problems, send them our way. We'll deal with those as well. And if you're enjoying the show, chuck a donation in our direction, buy us a drink. There's the link is down here at the bottom.
Yeah, you can go to our new payment portal, which is the Joke Pit link that is there, and we do appreciate that because we are still unemployed. So anything you can put in there is very much appreciated. I had another story that I want to talk about. It was also kind of about AirCon, and but
showing off again, aren't you? That's what it is.
No, but this is more con than and a bit of hot air as well. I think some people saw that Donald Trump is back on the road. He's back. He's doing gigs. He's doing gigs. We're not doing gigs. He had a terrible rally in Tulsa, but he thought he'd try again. He went down to Arizona, and he went to a church. So where he spoke with some people. I don't know if it's called a service, if it's called a rally, if it's just called a group wank. I don't know. I'm not much of a churchgoer. Now, it was 3,000 people that were going to go into this church. Now, of course, because they're Trump followers, they don't believe in masks and that kind of thing. But also, the heads of the church have a duty of care, don't they? Yeah. To care for their parishioners. And so the pastor and the chief executive officer of this church said, don't worry, there's no problem. And they assured people before they came that everything was going to be okay. And we can see that here.
Yeah, some exciting information about what we're doing to fight COVID-19 here at Dream City Church. We're probably the first church in the nation to...
Yeah, we've installed Clean Air EXP. We have a local Arizona company. It was technology developed by some members of our church, and we've installed these units, and it kills 99.9% of COVID within 10 minutes. From independent testing.
It's ionization. Is that what it is?
It's ionization of the air, and it takes particulates out, and COVID cannot live in that environment.
So when you come into our auditorium, 99% of COVID is gone,
That's
killed,
correct.
if it was there in the first place. So you can know when you come here, you'll be safe.
Wow, I feel reassured.
Yep. Yeah, well, I've actually got a shot of the system that they're using here. This is the that's it. There it is.
Shit-covered Bertha.
Big Bertha. It's very popular. So now, one of the things they're using science, Steve, which I think you like.
Oh, I love science.
They're using, and what was that? There was one particular part where they got into the science of it. I think we've got that clip again. Just that
ionization. Is that what it is?
Ionization. It's ionization of the air.
Ionization. I'm a Dyson. ISIS item.
I bet he couldn't say hydroxychloroquine.
Wow. And you said it as well. I mean, you slowed down like you were taking a sharp turn, but
I've written it in with hydroxychloroquine. If Trump can say it, I can say it. God damn it. But I mean, so they're using air ionizers. Yeah. Now, I Googled air ionizers to see, I don't know if you're familiar with these, because I know you studied chemistry.
Is it, I can tell you all about ions. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we that's basically first thing you do in chemistry is to start knocking electrons off.
Okay, I wasn't. Oh, that's why you studied that degree. All right. But apparently, air ionizers are considered dangerous, giving out levels of ozone, which are harmful to the environment. And when inhaled in high doses, which I would imagine in a tight space with a machine that's pumping out these things to you, the ozone can have harmful effects, including damage to your lungs, chest pain, coughing, and shortness of breath. So if you didn't have COVID-19 before you went to church, you're going to feel like you have it now. Thank the Lord.
Yeah. I can't wait for seeing the bit where they go like, I'm not cured. I've got more illness. Evil spirits
I have made you ill. Praise the Lord. We've got a shot of the service here. You could see the people that came. I mean, it was meant to be for young people, and it's just a sea of white. I mean, so much whiteness. They're there. It does have a rally aspect. This is when they were watching the pre-Trump video to hype him up. And they were booing Nancy Pelosi.
Oh.
This is my favorite. Watch this woman, second in from the guy in front.
Yeah. What's she doing? Yeah. Classy.
Took the gum out of her mouth for the President of the United States. I mean, that's what you should do, right? When you're not supposed to even be breathing on other people. Stick your fingers in your mouth. And then and just make sure you rub that COVID in. Just rub it in and then stick it. I mean, at least she didn't stick it on the chair in front of her.
She was saving it for later. That's what I like about that move. Classy move.
But the claim that they made about this fantastic air conditioner, which was apparently from parishioners of the church, is from a company called Clean Air EXP. Now, this follows a process when you make a claim like this in the Trump era, which is much like the president himself. You make the initial claim, which on the Clean Air EXP website said that they could clean 99.9% of the coronavirus particles in the air. Now, this clip went viral, and then the website was adjusted. So then it said they clarified that it just eliminated 99.9% of viruses and bacteria. Okay. All mention of COVID-19 was dropped. And then the final step 3, they released a statement that said it does not eliminate COVID-19.
Of course it doesn't.
Welcome to alternative reality.
Yeah. You get away with lying just for a while. Lie, alter, and then pretend you never said it.
And then they've actually taken the original clip off Facebook, so it never happened.
Wow, you're all doomed. Speaking of which, Mark's comment about that video is Village of the Damned 2020. They all had the blonde hair, yeah. Although, Eric, look at this. You have got loads of praise coming through. Sharon says, woo, he said it. Mark says, woo, Eric. Look at that. You're getting the praise for saying, what did you say again?
Hydroxychloroquine.
He reads it again. That's nice.
I've written it on the wall, which I'm quite disappointed. Hopefully it keeps killing people, but I keep saying it.
Chris Curlin says, Trump in a church, that'll end well. Yeah, it's like that scene in Buffy where Spike leans on the cross. I've started rewatching Buffy. Brilliant. With the other half, we're going to have some good times. The Bishop says, good evening, Eric. Good evening. He's still going on about my scarf. He says, that is seagull shit, and I know what seagull shit looks like. Apparently, he reckons it's seagull shit on your Big Bertha.
On my birth? No, it's tape. I'm telling you, it's tape. Okay. Well, I can thank Chris, who's bought us a drink on Joke Pit. So thank you very much, Chris. And a couple others have come through there. So if you want to, keep them coming, because Bertha doesn't clean herself.
Apparently, by the looks of it, yeah. Now, let's continue with another thread of things we talk about quite commonly. Yes. We are stand-up comedians. We're not allowed to go back to work, and we don't have an audience because they're not allowed to audience up. And we've been looked at various solutions. One, if you go through previous episodes, you'll find these, or in the clips on YouTube. There's drawn audience. We could draw our own audience in. There was cardboard cutouts. I quite like that. There's a new solution that a quartet in Barcelona in the Opera House have done. They performed to a full house of plants. There we go. Yeah, well, it looks quite busy. No walkouts, although that ivy is starting to creep. And, emotional music, but I must admit, they didn't look like they were too moved by it, although there was a willow at the back that had started weeping. Now, for more of these terrible plant-related puns, we can do a deeper dive into this, because I'm joined now on the line by one of the vegetables that was actually in the audience and saw the show. Hello.
Hello, Steve.
So what was it like?
Well, it was all right, but to be honest, not really my kind of music. I prefer something a bit more hardcore.
What was your favourite artist?
Smashing Pumpkins. Hey.
Do you ever get the feeling the only reason we did that joke is because I worked out how to do a pumpkin in CGI?
Yep. You probably should have done a tree doing this and then done a joke about bark.
That would have been a better joke. Damn it, even the pumpkins write better ones than me. So yeah. I mean, I think we probably could have done... By the way, that is the most high-tech thing that's ever been on this show. Could we just say?
That's good. That's better than when you fought off the virus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could still do that, but it's all the way down the bottom. All
right.
Yeah. So would you perform to... what's the point of it? It's still... I know plants aren't going to catch coronavirus, but still people had to carry them in there. What a waste of effort.
And the thing is, I mean, especially, if it was stand-up stand-up comedy, the thing that would happen would be the thing that happens to any stand-up comedian, is that when you look out at the audience, you can see, I mean, we've both done, big gigs with at least easily 300 or 400 people. You will spot in that crowd the one person who isn't laughing and enjoying themselves. And if you're looking at that and you just see a plant slowly dying in front of you,
yeah,
how sad would that be?
The entire audience is enjoying it, and that one spider plant looks a bit droopy.
Yep.
It's the one you focus on. You don't know, they might have had a bad day, and yet, no, you focus on it too much. Right, let's go back to some of the comments. So we have, in terms of the crowd, there's same crowd attending Trump's church, isn't it? Yeah, it was a bunch of plants. That was the kinder of the two words I could have picked. Mark says the plants breathe out something useful. That's true. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this picture that Chris has sent to us. We do ask that if you're watching us on your TV, then could you take a screenshot of it and send it to us? Because you can, if you're watching on YouTube, you can sling it to your TV or whatever. This is a picture. I can
tell my wife I've been on TV.
Hopefully, if we can't quite see this, I'll end up adding this in later. But this is a picture from Chris, and you can see that we're on his TV there.
Nice.
And the clock's on the wall, so we know what time it is, and that's down there.
What is that? I can't see that. That doesn't look appropriate to show everyone.
I think I don't know if it's one of those things that you. It's similar to the thing that I was trained to do mouth to mouth on, but not quite.
Okay.
Not quite the same. So.
Is it a sex doll? No.
So, however you're watching the show.
But you know what? He contributes, so whatever you want, Chris. Whatever makes you happy. And I have to say, in addition to people who are buying us drink now, I know there are some people who pre-booked their drinks because I guess they're already practicing the way we're going to have to drink in the UK. We have to pre-order things. So thank you to those people, because you can book in advance if you have faith. That will be funny before you get here. So no refunds. And so thank you to those people as well, because you can purchase tickets in advance through various portals. So thank you very much for that.
Stuff. Keep the messages coming through. Keep the drinks coming through. Let's crack on. So we're talking more trouble from America.
Yeah, I mean, do you know America is a democracy? Yeah. Did you know that, Steve?
I heard something about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's in quotations now. But one of the things that you get to do in a democracy, and I think here, like when somebody goes to speak to their MP, it's called a surgery, isn't it? Yeah. That's what you call it. But in America, often we have council meetings where people go and they can speak and they can air their grievances directly to the local government. And in Florida, in Palm Beach County, which Florida has often decided presidential elections. So these are voters that are really, really, really terrifying. We had some people who were not happy with the local government's requirement that they wear face masks, right? Maybe they were worried about getting sunburned the way that you did. I don't know. But we had some people that came and they spoke to local government, and we've got a few of them here. Here's the first one.
And they want to throw God's wonderful breathing system out the door. You're all turning your backs on it.
That's right, Stephen. They are attacking God's breathing system.
But now, look, I don't wear a mask all the time, but whenever I do, I still use my lungs. I don't know what she thinks happens. I'm going to put the mask on and then just have a crack at these gills. What? But turn your back on your own lungs? She make no sense to me.
She wants you to use Satan's breathing system, which comes right out of your a-hole. That's an old Saturday Night Live thing. Is that Satan? You don't know.
No, I didn't go to that over here.
It's for the Americans out there, guys. But I know, again, you studied science, you believe in science, and some of the people on the county council are also doctors as well. So we had one of the people coming to speak to them, spoke to them about their credentials, and here she is.
I really have many question marks about your degrees and what you really know. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't think that you are worthy of your credentials. And I would ask suggestively that you go back to school and get educated.
I do like ask suggestively, which I don't think means what she thinks it means. Like, why don't you go back to school?
She's not coming across as maybe. What I like at the end there is the guy who starts to cut her off. He's like, ma'am, because I've been through so many of these, right? But I do think this is an important part of democracy, and especially this last woman who really she was really keen to exercise her rights.
You cannot escape God, not even with the mask or 6 feet. 5G comes out, what? They're gonna scan everybody. We got to get scanned. We got to get temperatured. The kids have to go to school with masks. Are you insane? Are you praying to the devil? Are you part of the deep state?
Your time has expired.
The deep state is going down.
So much that's good about that woman, by the way, Eric, is my favourite thing. We got to get temperatured. Yeah, you don't want to get temperatured.
I mean, she spoke for a long time. She threw in the 5G. She started to get into the whole, why haven't we arrested Hillary? Why are you not being arrested? The people I'm speaking to. And again, the exasperation of the guy at the end. It's just like, oh my God. My point is with showing these clips is that I think that democracy is not the way forward.
I always knew there's something that always made me think democracy wouldn't work, and it was the charts. Whenever you see the kind of crap that gets put in at number one, when you let people decide, yeah, there's a problem. There's a problem at the deep core of society.
That's right. Oh, dear. But,
I got some feedback for you, Eric. Colin says, has Eric booked an appointment at the barber's to shear off that unruly mop?
I'm kind of, it's changing now because it was just kind of getting poofy, and now it's gotten longer, so it's weighing down. So I'm kind of going for a Conan O'Brien sort of thing. So I could get gingered like you, maybe,
yeah, and
then I could go poofy as well. So it's, I don't know. I cut my son's hair on Monday, and well, let's just say when they talk about barbers and the old, they used to cut people. Let's just say we've been to A&E.
Must be tempting. So for the message as well, seeing as we talked about, let's have a look. This one was on Twitter, so you can get in touch on Twitter. Chris showing us how he's watching it on the TV, which was the TV and the mouth-to-mouth thing down there. Chris says, Schexdoll, catchphrase from a previous episode, catch up. Mark says it's a donut holder.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, I can see ring donuts. Obviously, I don't know where you'd put the filled ones. Well, probably I can work out. And then Chris says she has question marks. Not sure what that's about, but we'll take it.
We'll take it. And thank you to Bishop, who has bought us a drink. So thank you very much there, Mr. Bishop. And again, to people who bought us a drink beforehand, we appreciate it, and keep it coming if you got it, because most of you are probably actually employed, and we are still not.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's fine. That's fine.
More on that in a sec, actually, about how we are still illegal. If you want to see the sexiest people in town, it's two outlaws. But I want to go back to deal with another bear bug of mine. Every so often, there's someone in America who'll do that thing of saying, COVID-19? Why, I did not know there were 18 before it. And from an earlier episode...
Sound just like us.
And keep an eye out for the bearded difference as I play you a clip from an earlier episode where we talked about this. Last time we did one of these shows, we were talking about Kellyanne Conway in America bothered me by getting some maths wrong. And you know what I'm like? I do get annoyed. And we'll play you the clip again. She said...
this is COVID-19, not COVID-1, folks.
No, it's not. No. It's not COVID. They're not naming them. And the last time we did a show, I pointed out they're not being named like police academy shows. They're not sequentially sequenced. And then I did a little rant about how America... You are the country that apparently changed the title of the film The Madness of George III to The Madness of King George because there was apparently genuine worry that some of your fellow countrymen would at some point see the poster and say, what's this? The Madness of George III? Why, I ain't even seen the first two. And no one would get to see it. Then I started to calm down. Then I saw this clip.
Why do you think this is COVID-19? This is the 19th coronavirus.
It's not the 19th coronavirus. We would remember. If I'd been in lockdown this many times, I think I could, I would have bought more toilet roll ahead of time. Just because something's got a number at the end of it doesn't mean they are sequentially numbered. Like the Mexico 88, the World Cup, right? Wasn't the 88th one that they'd done. George Michael's song Freedom 90. How many versions of that do you think he'd done? Now that's what I call music 105. That one actually is. They do too many of those.
You see, it's very confusing. I mean, if you add a number after a name, that's like if I've got a friend who's named Harrison Smith III. I'm assuming there's two other Harrison Smiths.
There's no. Well, I'll tell you what there is. There's one Harrison Smith who's got ideas above his station. That's all that's happened right there. So I don't know if you ended up losing that friend because we played that clip out. I don't know if they're still in touch. It's a shame because they sound like they got some money. So I was then thinking, okay, we've dealt with that in the past. Various people in America. Surely no one's going to make that mistake again. But wait,
COVID-19, COVID. I say, what's the 19? COVID-19. Some people can't explain what the 19. Give me the COVID-19. I said, that's an odd name.
Some people can't explain. Anyone who's watched this show can flip and explain, because it came out in 2019.
You're saying Donald's not watching?
I mean, he's a big fan of the show, from what I've heard. He's normally in the comments section. But, okay, I understand it must be difficult for Donald to remember that last year was 2019, when most of his attitudes are based in the 1950s. So it's confusing for him. And then I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is I'll do some research. We can put this as a clip that we keep putting on the internet, and I'll send it directly to him. I did the research, and it only turns out I was wrong. It's called COVID-19 because there have been 19 COVIDs. I can prove it as well, because we got some I managed to find on the internet. Back in the 80s was the last time. This is why I didn't remember it, because I was too young in the 80s. Well, back in the 80s there was COVID-18, and front page of the News of the World, when that was a newspaper, Tory MP catches COVID-18 from 19-year-old, because that's the kind of headline that the News of the World used to do. There's one before that as well. They've gone on through history. There was one around the start of World War II. Everyone remembers Neville Chamberlain's catch it, bin it, kill it, where he held aloft that tissue and said we should sneeze into there, and if we do that, there won't be any problems. And he was pretty good at predicting when things wouldn't get worse. We can go much earlier as well, for I think it was like COVID-7, was around 1066. Here's a tapestry that shows, if you look there, you can see Harold sneezing, not only leaving aerosols on the surface of that ship, but also that guy in front of him's not 2 meters away. And I'll tell you why. Back then we couldn't measure meters because they were French, and Harold didn't really get on with the French so much. And if you want to go all the way back to COVID-1, people are unsure, but there's some evidence that these cave paintings found on a wall tell you that back in COVID-1, even then, they were telling us not to eat pangolins. How did they know? But there we go. A brief history of the COVIDs.
There we go. Well, see, Donald's not wrong all the time.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought? You know, if he sees that as a clip, because we sometimes put clips of the show out, if you tweet that at him, I bet he retweets it.
He'll retweet it as proof.
Yeah, as proof.
That is tempting.
That is tempting. You just have to. We have to set up a new Twitter account that says Donald Trump's COVID is right, because he just sees that he doesn't often look, because there's been a few that he's retweeted that just say, Donald Trump's a, and I think this has got legs, Steve.
I think we should. Okay, I'm definitely willing to spend time doing that.
Now.
That is definitely worth it. Before we crack on with anything else, Mark says actually Eric's hair has more than a touch of Keir Starmer to it.
Ooh, I'll take Keir Starmer. Yeah. It's better than Jeremy Corbyn, I'll tell you that.
And Colin says make sure he chooses donuts before the swallow. I don't know if I think you take them off before you eat them. I don't think you eat the donuts. I'm not an expert on donut holders, but I don't think. Do you just leave it on there?
I've never left a donut for long enough to put it in a hole.
Wherever you're watching this, you can keep the messages coming through. And if you enjoy the show even a little bit, where you'd buy us a drink, the link is down the bottom. Sweet.
Yes, we do appreciate that.
I'm technically out of time, but do you reckon we can fit another one in?
Yeah, I think that this goes to the core of why we're here, and why we're begging for solicitations.
That's true. Yeah, this is because comedians are still not allowed to perform. They won't release the law on us performing in pubs, and yet we've had added to the things that will be allowed fairs and car boot sales. Effectively flea markets. Fleas! The things that gave us the plague are going to be allowed back out in society, but we're not. And apparently it's because in comedy gigs, if you laugh violently, you might spittle a little and project some aerosols of COVID. No one laughs that much at our gigs. They could let us back. Come on,
If they start taking the gum out of their mouth, though, that's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah, it's not fair, is it? It's that we're not allowed, because it's effectively meant that comedians are outlawed. We are illegal, and it's not easy for us. Yeah, and I think you've lined up an interview so I can find out a little bit more.
We've got a comedian to talk to now, but obviously because doing comedy, you can't meet in groups, you can't meet indoors. We're specifically in the legislation that you cannot have live comedy events. So we're going to hide his identity, and we really appreciate him being brave enough to come on the show. I've got him here. There he is. He's hidden himself there. Hello there.
Hello.
What's it like being an outlaw?
Well, it's It's not easy, to be fair. I mean, it's less fun than I thought it would be. We all know that they eventually got Al Capone because of tax evasion, and stand-up comedians, our self-assessment forms are an absolute state. So it is a worry. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I mean, the thing that everybody says, in this, how you feel, how have you been? Have you been safe? How are you coping?
Yeah, I mean, it starts out all right, but when you are a criminal, it's very easy to fall into the wrong gangs, the wrong groups. I've been hanging out with other criminals, like swimming pool owners, gym goers, those people who own nail bars, nail technicians. Oh, those nail bars, man! You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Still, they do have nice nails, don't they?
Yeah, especially on their toes, I bet. Yeah. Have you been earning any money?
I have done a few things that I'm not proud of. Yeah, but I got desperate. So I've been doing some comedy shows online. Debasing myself on a webcam just to get people to throw some money my way with some American bloke. It's not right. It's not right.
Okay. All right. Well, hold yourself together there, man. And thanks for joining us. And stay safe. Stay safe out there.
Did it go all right? I had to step out there for a sec.
Yep, I think it went well. Especially since the comedian in question was not quite as in the dark as I think we thought he would be. Yeah. So you could see most of him the whole time.
Let's try and cover the laptop with a script. Turns out someone's been buying cheap paper.
It basically shone right through. I mean, that would I think we violated somebody's GDPR data privacy rules there. Wow, that's some of the best acting I think the two of us have done together through the whole series, and it's only taken us to episode 23 that we're on right now.
Yeah.
Good Lord. And I mean, what's terrifying about basic, because we've been doing these since April, I think was the first one, and just the transition in both of our hair, and you just and my waist, but we can't see that on the webcam, which is why I don't want live comedy to start again.
Got some more messages before we finish. I said that whoever gets to number one often shows the paucity of merit within a democracy. The bishop says Mr. Blobby was a fantastic number one. You might think you're disproving my point, but I think you're proving my point. So thank you for your comments.
I don't know what a Mr. Blobby is.
Do you not remember? It was a Christmas number one. It was. Do you know what? It would take too long to explain, and at the end of it, you'd just think I was making it up.
Yeah. I think it's probably before my time, and I don't.
Yeah, I can, because he sent a picture, a little GIF of Mr. Blobby. There we are. There he is.
This country was. Yeah. Okay.
We were messed up. Chris Curling says method BAFTA worthy. Oh, why? Thank you. We were doing acting. Thank you
very much.
I think we're done and dusted.
We've got the weekend coming up. Steve, you got any gigs?
No, a couple of little spots on radio just talking about the news and whatnot, but no stand-up for a while because we're illegal.
At least before we weren't mentioned, but now it is explicitly stated. No live comedy. We will be back here on next Tuesday. And I think the thing that we would ask, thank you for watching. Thank you for contributions. If you couldn't contribute, that's fine. What you could do is tell people about the show. Hydroxychloroquine. Look at that, nailing it. Tell people about the show if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're trying to build that up as well. We've got our own branded YouTube page now. So Comic Solving Problems is the name of the channel. Share people, but not in Bournemouth. And tell people about the show and catch us every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 o'clock. Is there anything else to add, Steve?
No, I think we're all sorted. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for the beers and whatnot. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.